Tag TV and Tag Radio. Be seen and heard by both technology users and technology producers throughout the state of Georgia and around the world. Low cost, big benefits, powerhouse online branded video and audio has arrived. Tag TV, Tag Radio, there's a lot more to know. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by GlobalSpeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of GlobalSpeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. It's an age-old philosophy, bloom where you're planted. Well, if you're a second-stage growth company, be ye high-tech, tech-enabled, or outright innovative in manufacturing or professional services and located in Georgia, specifically coastal Georgia, get ready to blossom big time. It's called economic gardening, and TAG is growing at it in a major initiative happening right now. Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, October 26, 2010, and this is Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. I'm your guest host, Frank Baia. Well, it's time to plant seeds for economic growth, and TAG is taking real action to help entrepreneurs dig into what it takes to harvest real success. Not just how to write a business plan or how to get low-interest loans, we're talking sophisticated processes of market research, competitive analysis, and marketing strategy development, the kind of information most second-stage businesses need mission-critical but simply don't have access. Based on research by MIT's David Birch that showed the great majority of all new jobs in any local economy were produced by small local businesses of that community, Chris Gibbons, a government official back in 1987 in the city of Littleton, Colorado, developed a program he called economic gardening that today is a movement in several states across the country. Awarded a grant recently from the Economic Development Administration, TAG has launched its own version of this phenomenon in coastal Georgia. Up to the Tech Talk is TAG Director of Economic Gardening, Lisa Ballard. From her education from Wharton School and degrees in systems engineering to a professional career that includes Senior Manager of Partner Development for Earthlink, where she managed strategic content and commerce partnerships with the likes of Google, the Weather Channel, and CBS, to Senior Vice President Technology Practice for Manning, Savage, and Lee Public Relations, she has been instrumental in establishing Georgia as a high-tech hub. Having promoted many diverse products and services, directed marketing for several software and hardware vendors, Lisa knows economic gardening that quickly and positively impact revenues. The Tech Talk is all about growing jobs for Georgia in TAG's not-so-secret gardening initiative in Savannah, as we Tech Talk with the director of, well, a very fast-growing initiative live in Savannah, Georgia, as we speak with a pro whose breadth and depth of high-growth best practices is exemplary. TAG's Director of Economic Gardening, Lisa Ballard. Lisa, welcome to Tech Talk.
Thanks for having me.
Well, today's subject kind of generally is going to be talking about economic development. I think I've said it a couple of times myself that every city and every state in the United States does basically the same thing, and it's all about either inbound investment or expanding existing industries. But now all of a sudden there's been this evolving new idea, new concept that's happened over the last several years called economic gardening. Maybe tell us a little bit about that. What is economic gardening?
Economic gardening is designed to help small companies grow where they're planted. Basically, it's the concept of growing companies within your own sphere instead of trying to recruit companies from outside of your community. And what the groups that engage in economic gardening try to do is help the small companies with things like developing their core strategy, making sure they have the right management team in place and that the management team has the skill set that they need to succeed, helping with market research, making sure that the company has the materials, the ideas, the information, the data, the actionable data that they need to grow into the market space. And also they help, some of the groups help with financing, helping locate financing, and also connecting the small company and the leadership teams to each other so that they can have some peer learning. I think one of the fundamental things that was learned out in Littleton, Colorado, where all of this got started by Chris Gibbons, was that the best kind of knowledge was shared knowledge among the entrepreneurs. So that's basically the things that economic gardening tries to provide to small entrepreneurs so they can grow the companies that already exist in the community.
So it is a form of taking existing industry and helping them to expand, but it's more entrepreneurial than, say, for example, a manufacturing plant getting into the export business as a way of increasing its volume. This is a case where you're talking about more of a second stage growth type of company, just beyond startup. Is that more?
Right.
Okay.
Right. The way that the Edward Lowe Foundation, which is one of the champions of economic gardening, the way they define a second stage growth company is a company with 10 to 99 employees, $500,000 to $10 million in revenue, and the ability and desire to grow. That's an important factor. This is not for, folks that have lifestyle businesses, but these are people that really want to grow their business and scale their business.
Now, you mentioned the name Chris Gibbons. Give our listeners a little bit of background on economic gardening. It isn't just something that was created a couple of weeks ago or even here in the state of Georgia. This is something that's got some performance criteria behind it, some history. Tell us a little bit about that, if you will.
Back in the 80s, Littleton, Colorado lost the largest employer in town, and this employer had been given some incentives to move into town, but when the incentives expired, the employer left. And the folks in Littleton kind of got a little bit upset about that and decided they were never going to give another dime to companies from outside. They're going to just grow what they got. And Chris Gibbons was involved in county government there, or city government, I'm not sure which, and took some research that had come out of MIT the decade before around economic gardening, and put together an office in City Hall for local companies to come in and get those 5 help in the services in those 5 areas that we've discussed already. And it was incredible, the success that they've had, and they continue to do it to this day. And Chris helps other communities put together teams of experts and have access to databases and resources that small companies wouldn't have access to. Only large Fortune 100 companies have access to some of the databases that Chris and his virtual economic gardening teams can provide to small companies. So we're very much indebted to him and the Edward Lowe Foundation for helping us make our project here in Georgia possible.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. For our listeners and our TAG members, I'm sure some of you already know that a grant was awarded by the Economic Development Administration to the Technology Association of Georgia for economic development in coastal Georgia. So what we're talking about is actually a project that is somewhat centered in Savannah, but give us some indication of what is going on there now and what do you see happening as far as the future of the situation goes.
Well, it's very exciting because, for a number of years, Savannah and the coastal Georgia region has been developing an economic development effort around knowledge, what they call knowledge-based companies, and branding themselves as the creative coast. Sure. And so TAG saw this as an opportunity to really invest in a community that was eager to grow. So the grant was written around the coastal region, which is 10 counties in Region 12 as designated by the Georgia Department of Economic Development. And it's all the coastal counties, but it also reaches out into Hinesville and Liberty County, which is where the Fort Stewart Army Base is, and also reaches up into Bullitt County and Statesboro, where Georgia Southern University is. So we also have a lot of universities here in Savannah, and we have the newest 4-year college in the University of Georgia system, the Board of Regents would not like me to misquote there. The Georgia University system is, which is the College of Coastal Georgia, has just gained 4-year status last year. So we're very excited about, the talent pool that is here, and therefore the TAG thought that this would be the perfect place to try and grow companies within the community. And what we've done is we've reached out to not only technology companies, but also technology-enabled companies. Most of our first clients were obviously technology companies. We have a great client that's working. They have something that's, their website is uplaya.com, and they can tell you whether or not a song is going to be a hit or not based on an algorithm they have created.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of our listeners are aware of Uplaya and probably didn't know that you guys were involved in helping to support their growth.
Yes, it's very exciting because they're trying to reach out to not only independent artists but also the record labels, and the independent record labels, because it's an opportunity. They give those folks an opportunity to get their music listened to. Folks will go to Uplaya and look for songs that have been uploaded to see, and want to listen to the songs that have scored well. And so our efforts are to help them reach out and let more folks, more independent artists know about this distribution vehicle. And they are very excited about the research that we've been doing for them. So
due to time restraints, you mentioned one. Unfortunately, we can't go into detail, but maybe mention some other participating companies. Uplaya is one, but tell us about some others.
Evoca is a digital voice recording site that is implanted in a lot of and white labeled by a lot of companies for their sites. We have my favorite actually is not a technology company, but they are technology enabled in that they sell their products via internet, and that is Oliver Bentley's Gourmet Dog Biscuits. I love the whole concept. It's really great. It's organic and human food-based product. It's just really super, and they're all baked by hand. They're just adorable. And the other one we help, a company here called iTech. They are a computer solutions company. We have another software company called Code Grail that enables companies to hook up their disparate databases and disparate systems very easily with module kind of connectors. Whereas you can hook up your CRM system and your invoicing system with their commonality APIs. It's kind of complicated to explain in a short period of time.
Well, and we are running out of time, Lisa. Can you tell us, is there a URL where we could get some more information and maybe find out more about the services and the companies that you're working with?
Absolutely. It's www.gagrow.com, as in GeorgiaGrow.com.
GAGrow.com.
Yes, and you can also find that link on the TAG website as well.
Okay, one last question, and just briefly, but I know that you've got to have some partners in an effort that as important and with as much impact as it already has. Tell us a little bit about some of your partners.
Well, the Enterprise Innovation Institute at Georgia Tech was a key supporter of this even before the grant was awarded. They were very encouraging to TAG in going after the grant. And also the Savannah Economic Development Authority has just been tremendously supportive, not only financially but also in helping us find companies. It's a little difficult to find some of these second stage guys because they're just busy, working with their heads down and finding these guys so that we can help them. When we do find them, they're very appreciative, but they're busy doing their job and making a living, and so we really appreciate the CETA folks directing us to them.
Well, hopefully that today's Tech Talk will help to get some outreach and more awareness about what you're doing. Remember, listeners, it's Georgia, GAGrow.com for more information. Lisa, thank you so much for what you're doing down in Savannah and also for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here on Tech Talk.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for helping us to spread the word, and we look forward to hearing from the second stage entrepreneurs out there.